Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got a deck that you will not believe what it does. My goodness, is this some Mad Lad stuff. So first up, the commander for this deck is Momir Vig, Simic Visionary, a Mad Lad himself. A 2/2 elf wizard for 3 green and a blue. Whenever you cast a green creature spell, you may search your library for a creature card, reveal it. If you do, shuffle your library with a card on top of it. Whenever you cast a blue creature spell, reveal the top card of the library. If it's a creature, it goes into your hands. So this is a commander that can very easily tutor out specific creatures out of your library, on top of your library, and right in your hand. If you're casting a multicolored spell in this deck, essentially, you get both. That being said, yeah, we've got some specific creatures that we really want to get out, and when we do, some really crazy things happen. Now, I will mention that this deck is a little higher than my other budgets because of some creatures that we're going to get to here in a little bit. The commander itself is about $2. Yeah, I wish it was a little cheaper. That being said, I broke the budget on 2 cards in this deck. The rest of the deck, 50 cents or less for those cards. And yes, the total cost of this deck, according to Moxfield, is $31.28. Still pretty budget friendly compared to most decks out there. And yes, that doesn't include shipping or basic lands, but you might already have those basics, or you can borrow some from friends, your LGS or whatnot. Basically though, still a budget friendly deck, still a crazy deck. Let's jump into it after I remind you that there is a deck list link in the description below. Now, let's jump into the tactics. So this deck revolves around Blossoming Tortoise, and another expensive-ish card that I'll talk about here in a bit. But yes, I broke the budget on this one, $5.75 for this card, because this deck works around this crazy card. 3/3 turtle for 2 green. When enters the battlefield or attacks, mill 3 cards, return a land card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. That's nice. That's lovely. Hey, cool. Yeah, we can ramp. Awesome. Also, on top of that, activate those lands you control cost 1 less to activate. But that seems kind of irrelevant for certain decks out there, except this deck is built entirely around just that. On top of that, land creature control +1. That's nice. The most important part, though, is, hey, our activated abilities of lands we control cost 1 less to activate. And, you might not think this deck is going in the direction that it actually is because, well, it's not going to be our lands that we really care about, in a way. So now to on to tactic number 2, which I'm calling the Golden Piglet, because the other part of this is another, again, pretty expensive card. Again, $9.61 for a Shyest Soul of the Wild. So yeah, I mean, with the combination of this, plus our commander, plus Blossoming Tortoise, that's like almost 2/3 of our entire budget in 3 cards. That being said, again, the rest of the deck is very budget friendly, so it makes up for that. Regardless, a Star Legendary Creature Elemental for 3 green. Its power types are each equal to the number of lands you control, so this can become quite massive. But most importantly, what we care about, non-token creatures you control are forest lands and other types. So this turns every single one of our non-token creatures into a land. And because of that, well, that works very well with something we talked about earlier. Activated abilities of lands you control cost 1 less to activate with Blossoming Tortoise. Now, keep in mind, Wizards is usually pretty specific when it comes to activated ability cost reduction. Like, Training Grounds. Hey, yeah, they cost 2 less to activate, but it can't reduce it less than 1. It has to stay at 1. The Tortoise does not say that. The Tortoise says, again, activated abilities of lands you control cost 1 less to activate. So therefore, we can reduce our activated abilities down, certain activated abilities down to nothing. Again, if we've got an activated ability that costs a single mana to activate, yeah, all of a sudden now it is free. So yeah, we can do some absolutely crazy things. That being said, we don't have any creatures in this deck that have an activated ability of just a single generic mana. We've got some that cost, well, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a little more than that even. How are we actually going to reduce those down? Well, that's where tactic number 3 comes in. You look familiar. Mirror Image, a 0/0 shapeshifter for 3 mana. Enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature you control. Yep, clones. We are going to clone, well, not Ashaya, not our commander, but the Blossoming Tortoise. Again, that turtle is not legendary. Though it's super cool, it's not legendary. So you know what? Let's clone it. All of a sudden, we get that ETB, which is nice. Again, mill 3, get a land from your graveyard, basically back in battle tap. Great, cool. We can ramp ourselves. That's great. Just a nice additional benefit. But again, more importantly, we can stack that cost reduction. Now, all of a sudden, if we play Mirror Image, we copy the Blossoming Tortoise. Now we've got activators of lands we control. Costs 2 less to activate. So all of a sudden, yeah, we can get that reduction further and further and further. Moving on, clone. Yeah, it's a simple clone. Gigantoplasm. Sure, we can make the turtle clone slightly bigger if we really want to. Awesome. Machine God's Effigy. This is basically an artifact version. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature battlefield except an artifact, and it has tap for blue. So there you go. Next up, Undercover Operative. Enters the battlefield as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it also gets a shield counter on it if we control that creature. Yeah, are we going to have a turtle with a shield counter on it? That shell with the shield. Lovely. Next up, Vizier Many Faces. This one is a clone that we can also embalm if it's in our graveyard to get it right back out. Recruit Pretender. It costs 5, which is a little expensive for a clone, but still, hey, pay 2 blue, bounce it back to our hand. So if we need to, we can actually do that as well. Miranda the Frost can copy absolutely any of our permanents, and it also makes it snow, which isn't really all that relevant. But what is relevant again is that, hey, you know what? You can just copy the tortoise. The Super Shapeshifter, this one can also change into the battlefield, or it's turned face up, and we can actually keep turning face up if we need to. It can morph for 1 and a blue. Pick any creature, it becomes that creature. Hulking Metamorph, if we want a 7/7 version of something, cool, pay 9. If not, yeah, let's just pay the 4. Make a 3/3 version of it instead. Finally, Volo, Guide to Monsters, not a clone itself. It's a 3/2 human wizard. Whenever you cast a creature spell that doesn't share a creature type with a creature controller or creature card in your graveyard, copy that spell. So essentially, hey, if you play this, then you play your tortoise. Now you get 2 tortoises, as long as you don't have any other turtles in play, which you probably don't. Regardless, keep in mind, with our shapeshifters, yeah, when our clones become other things, they're not shapeshifters anymore. And yeah, you can basically just keep copying clones again and again with this, which can be pretty crazy. And again, get that activate abilities of lands cost reduction further and further down. But we're not done with cloning just yet, so let's move on to attack number 4. I've seen you before. A Croaking Counterpart is a great card. Create token's copy of target non-frog creature. Again, our tortoise is not a frog, it's a turtle. Or is a tortoise a turtle? I don't know. Anyways, except say 1/1 green frog. We can also flash it back. So again, this can basically just be, hey, 2 extra copies of that. Fade Infatuation, you get a token on the battlefield, it's copy target creature you control. Also, it's your turn. Scry 2. Lovely. Mirage Mockery. This one create tokens copy target artifact creature you control, but more likely we're just going to create tokens copy of target non-artifact creature we control, again for just 3 mana. Replicate can do the exact same thing. Token of a creature you control. Lovely. And also, hey, for 2 mana though, we can also just counter target activator triggered ability if we really need to do that. Xander's Twin Judgments at 5 mana. For each player, choose friend or foe. Here's the thing, your opponent's probably choosing foe against them. Each friend creates a token to copy creature they control. Each foe returns a creature they control back to its owner's hand. So basically, downside for my opponents, upside for me. Series Artistry, create tokens copy of target artifact, and create tokens copy of target creature except an artifact as other types. So there you go. Then Spitting Image, a great repeatable cloning effect. Create tokens copy target creature, and we can also retrace it. So again, cast it out of your graveyard by discarding a land and paying its cost. Speaking of repeatable, Stolen Identity. Create tokens copy target creature. We can also cipher it onto a creature. When that creature gets through, we can recast this for free. So let's move on to tactic number 5, to infinity, because again, Wizards is usually very cautious when it comes to cost reduction, especially for abilities. Typically, they're like, no. I mean, I think basically all the cost reduction for creatures' abilities is like, yeah, you can't go lower than 1. We don't want you to be able to activate abilities for free. We want to, though. So again, we're going through this really roundabout way of getting a turtle into play and then getting a thing that turns all of our creatures into lands as well, and then all of a sudden we're cloning that turtle. And now we've got a second copy of it in play, and now our activate abilities of our lands, which are also creatures, are reduced by 2. So it's down to 0 for Mind Trigger, a 1/1 flyer. That is very simple and very effective. Pay 2. Target player puts the top card of the library in their graveyard. Mind Trigger gets +X until turn X. That card's converted mana cost. This becomes infinite mill. Yeah, that's what we're doing. Infinite mill with this. Just take out all of our opponents, and also sure just take out a player while you're at it. Just swing with this and take a player out, because it's going to be not infinitely large, but very, very, very large. Next up, speaking of infinite, Prismite. Yep, there you go. A 2/1 golem that costs 2 and has pay 2 at 1 mana of any color. So typically this is like inefficient filtering of mana, but with this it's like, oh hey, pay 0, add 1 mana of any color. So yeah, you've got infinite mana of all colors, and of course plenty of ways to win from there. Next up, Golem Artisan, a 3/3 artifact creature golem that costs 5. Target artifact creature gets +1/+1, and also target artifact creature gains your choice of flying, trample, haste until end turn. Yeah, you can just give any artifact creature, including this one, infinite power and flying, trample, and haste, and then all of a sudden swing through and take out, well, you're at least one opponent with this, but maybe other ones if you've got another artifact creature in play, like maybe like a Steel Hellkite. 5/5 flying dragon that costs 6. Pay 2, gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So again, infinite power with that. Also pay X to store each non-land permanent with mana value X whose controller is dealt combat damage by Steel Hellkite at the turn. X villain once each turn. There you go. You can just choose that as well. Moving on. At 3 activation costs. So again, we need 2 clone versions of our Taurus. Hypnotic Rifter Connive. So basically, draw a card, discard a card. If you're discarding a non-land card, you get a counter on this. So we can just dig through our entire deck if we need to, essentially, and just go, yeah, get this to be pretty massive as well. Moving on, Paragon of Modernity. A 2/2 Flying Angel Warrior. By paying 3, or again, if we've got enough in play, 0, gets +1/+1 until end of turn, and we don't have to worry about getting counters on it because our opponents are going to get taken out by something like this. Speaking of which, a simple 1-mana creature, a 0/3 Gargoyle, can do it as well. Pay 4. Again, if we've got 4 turtles in play, great. This can get +2/+0, gain flying till end turn. So again, infinite power, can get through on usually one opponent if they've got no flyers. Have fun with that. Then we also have infinite protection in a lot of ways. Soul New Phyrexia, 6 mana, trampling Phyrexian Avatar. Pay 5, permanent you control, gain indestructible on turn. Also, if it's in your graveyard, you can exile to your graveyard. Cool. More importantly, though, again, hey, if this is in play, and we got 5 turtles in play, yeah, your opponents probably won't be able to deal with any of your permanents, so have fun with that. Next up, we've got Geology Enthusiast, a 2/5 Human Artificer. It says, beginning of your end step, create tap power stone token. Nice. Most importantly, though, pay 6, draw a card, and put a counter on this. So this can get infinitely large, and also we can draw our entire library. I guess I shouldn't say infinitely large because it's based on the number of cards in our library, but still. Dig down, get the exact cards that you need to win. Moving on, third Path Savant, 2/3 Human Wizard, pay 7, draw 2 cards. Because why not? Why not get 7 turtles in play? Just to show your opponents that you can, and you know what? To really show them that you can. The weirdest flex ever. Timora's Invoker, a 1/3 Orc Rogue that costs 1 and a blue. Pay 8, draw 2 cards. Yeah, who would ever play a terrible card like this outside of like a draft environment? I don't know. Me, because you know what? I want to get 8 turtles in play. I want to activate this as many times as I want, and all of a sudden I'm going to show my opponents that even with this crazy card, I can build a deck crazy enough to say, you know what? I'm going to draw my library with this absolutely terrible card in the weirdest way possible. Thank you, 8 turtles. Oh yeah, to infinity. That's when we do tactic number 6, quick start, because, well, we've got some ways to start things off quite quickly. Coiling Oracle, a 1/1 Snake Elf Druid, because that's the thing that costs green and a blue. Enters the battlefield, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land, upon the battlefield, otherwise put a card in your hand. Keep in mind, with these multicolored creatures like this, if our commander is in play, basically this is also just a creature tutor. Again, because it's green, go get a creature to your deck. Put on top of your library. Because it's blue, get that creature from the top of your library into your hand. So we're going to say 2 mana tutor for us as well. Speaking of which, Chorus Follower, 2/2 tap, untap another target permanent. So again, a great way to untap one of our lands. Also to say 2 mana tutor. Speaking of which, Marrowleaf Pixie, a 2/2 that can tap for either of our colors. Again, at just 2 mana in both of our colors. Zamone as well, Quandrix Prodigy, a 1/2 Human Wizard for green and blue. Pay 1 tap, get a land card for your hand on the battlefield tapped. Pay 4 tap, draw a card. If you control 8 or more lands, draw 2 cards instead. Again, our turtle and our combination can actually make those both basically cost nothing. We can't go infinite because of the tapping, but still. Moving on, Farhaven Elf. This one, unfortunately, is just green, but still, being able to tutor up a creature and get on top of our library can already be huge. 1/1 Elf Druid enters the battlefield, search life for a basic land, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Gyre Engineer, again, back to the multicolored creatures. 1/1 that can tap for 2 mana, again, both of our colors, which is fantastic. Risen Reef. Whenever it or other elemental enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library, it's a land, upon the battlefield, tapped. If you don't put on the battlefield, put in your hand. Again, when you make extra copies of this, you get more and more elementals in play, and all of a sudden you get a lot of Risen Reef triggers. So you can clone this and go really crazy with it. Next up, Springwheel Druid, a 1/1 Elf Druid, ETB, sacrifice 1 land, go get 2 basics into play, tapped. Wood Elves, go get a forest into play, untap on ETB. And then Quandrix Cultivator, a 3/4 that again is both colors, so tutor, enters the battlefield, search life for a basic forest or island, put a battlefield, then shuffle. Moving on, let's talk about tech number 7, Smash It All, because we also have some creatures that can help us out. Well, not only tutor creatures on top of our library and such, but also get rid of things too. Caustic Caterpillar, a 1/1 that can pay 1 and a green, sacrifice to a target artifact or enchantment. What's not to love about that? Cankerbloom, an even bigger creature, 3/2 Phyrexian Fungus for just 2 mana. Pay 1, sacrifice, destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, or proliferate if you really need to. Mass Vandal, for getting rid of our creatures in our graveyard, cool. We can exile a creature from our graveyard. If we do exile an artifact or enchantment, that can be absolutely brutal. Outland Liberator, pay 1, sacrifice to a target artifact or enchantment, or hey, if it's flipped over, whenever you attack, you also get destroy an artifact or enchantment, and you can still sacrifice this for even more. Next up, Rexage, let's wreck things, a 2/1 ETB, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Trigon Predator, again, multicolor, fantastic tutor with our commander. 2/3 Flying Beast, whenever it deals combination of player, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment that player controls, a great repeatable way to deal with things. Foundation Breaker, a great evoke creature. For just 1 and a green, you can evoke it out, a 2/2 ETB, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And then there's Acidic Slime, a 2/2 with Death Touch that also can destroy an artifact, enchantment, or even, yes, a land. But now we're going to do tech number 8, Bring It Back, because yeah, there's going to be times where we've got some cards that we need to get back. Skullwinder's a great card, a 1/3 Death Touching Snake, enters the battlefield, return target card from your grave to your hand, then choose an opponent. That player can do the exact same thing. So basically, yeah, make a deal with an opponent, say, hey, you know what? We won't attack each other for a little while, okay? All right, cool. You get a card, I get a card. What's not to love? Moving on, Timeless Witness, ETB, get any card from your graveyard back to your hand. You can also eternalize it to do that again. Green Warden Marasa, a 5/4 ETB, to target card from your graveyard to your hand. Also, when this dies, you can exile, and if you do, you get another card back from your graveyard to your hand. Finally, Colossal Sky Turtle. Again, multicolor, keep that in mind. 6/5 Flying Ward, 2, lovely. Pay 2 and a green. Discard it from your hand. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. Or we can channel it again by paying 1 and a blue to discard it and bounce our creature back to its owner's hand. So very flexible, very effective card. But now let's move on to tag number 9, Dig Deep, Gretchen Titchwillow, because yeah, outside of our crazy ways to just, dig through our entire library with infinite turtle shenanigans, we've got some more regular ways to do so, and also have some weird shenanigans. A 0/4 Halfling Druid for just 2 mana, again, great tutor for our commander. Pay 2, a green and a blue, draw a card, put a land from your hand on the battlefield. This one is not infinite, but can be kind of, really effective, because again, if we got the turtles in play, hey, it just costs green-blue, and yeah, we keep getting lands and lands into play. Next up, Inganesca, a 4/4, again, multicolor. Creatures you control have vigilance, and tap at 1 mana of any color, spin only cast a creature spell. We've got an absurd amount of creature spells, great. We've got a lot of creatures in play, great. We've got a lot of mana, and also on top of that, whenever you cast a creature spell, if 3 or more mana from creature spent and cast it, we draw a card, also card advantage with that as well. Next up, Voice of Many, ETBs, draw a card for each opponent who controls fewer creatures than us. We've got a lot of creatures, we've got a lot of crazy things happening. Yeah, we're probably going to meet that requirement a lot of time to draw, maybe 2-3 cards. Next up, Garrick's Pack Leader. 4/4, whatever creature with power 3 or greater is battlefield under control, you may draw a card. It's going to be happening quite a bit as well. Speaking of which, Karuga the Macro Sage, I love this art. A 5/4 Dinosaur Hippo, because that's the thing. Your starting deck, don't worry about that. We don't care about the companion with this one. What we do care about is ETB, draw a card for each other permanent you control with mana value 3 or greater, which can be quite a few of them, drawing us a lot of cards on that ETB. And keep in mind, kind of with these ETB shenanigans, yeah, if you need to use a clone effect to actually get an ETB again, you definitely can. Moving on, Tatio Benthic Druid, a 3/3 Merfolk Druid. Whenever a land enters battlefield under control, you gain life and draw a card. Gross and amazing. Next up, Wave Sifter. This one we can also evoke out for just a single green and a single blue. When it enters the battlefield, we investigate twice. So again, some delayed draw essentially. We would need to actually utilize mana for that. We can, but also, hey, you know what? We can actually just tutor out, a creature out of our library, on top of our library, and get it for just 2 mana with that as well. Finally, Primordial Sage. Yeah, again, we've got a lot of creatures coming into play. We can really take advantage of casting them as well. A 4/5 Spirit. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. Yeah, this can actually fill our hand quite quickly, quite easily with this kind of a deck. But now we want to do tag number 10, Great Land. And we've got some great lands in this deck, including Litjar Mirror Lake. It's a land that enters the battlefield. Tap, it can tap for a blue by paying 2 green, green, and a blue. Tap, sacrifice it. We get tokens copy to our creature we control, except it enters the battlefield with additional counters. Activate a sorcery. This is basically, again, for the most part, extra tortoise for us. That's just on a land, which is fantastic. Next up, Tangleflorahedron, a very simple card, but one that can be very effective. It's an MDFC land. The back is a land that enters the battlefield. Tap, it can tap for a green. The front side is a Mana Dork, which also, again, when you cast it with your commander in play, is a tutor for any creature in our deck. Get on top of your library. Then there's Kazandu Mammoth, a great card as well. A 3/3 Elephant that sure can get bigger if we got lands coming into play, but also it's just a land on the back as well. And again, a great tutor for us when we need it to be. And with that, this episode is coming to a close, so let me know your thoughts are on it in the comments below. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one.
This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.